ambitions don't need nothing but execution and time. Buddha don't need nothing but a beat in the rhyme. God protect my soul, mama need to know that I'm fine. Who providing the vibe? You see the
What am I in today? Well, you'd swear I was in a sports car, but I'm not. But I'm in a vehicle from a sports car company, or at least that's what they're known for. But boy, oh boy. I mean, SUVs or SAVs shouldn't do this, particularly at 5,500 pounds, like the 2021 Porsche Cayenne GTS that I'm in right now. Those were some corners I was taking at not a speed I would expect in a vehicle this size and weight, 5,500 pounds. You know, you look at a Cayenne and then you look at an Escalade, let's say, and you look at them and you think, oh my God, there's like completely different in size. You know, the Cadillac Escalade must be 1,000 pounds heavier than that thing. Look at the size difference. I mean, you can see it with my stature alone beside the Cadillac Escalade that I drove not that long ago. You'd look at this vehicle and think, oh, it's way lighter. It's not. They pack a lot into this little guy. But the Cadillac Escalade, it's so much bigger than this vehicle, you would not expect the Cadillac Escalade to only be 5,800 pounds. It's only 300 pounds heavier than the Cayenne, but the Cayenne is just so small. It's compact. I would describe this vehicle as an SAV. I know you've heard me on this channel talk about how SUVs, I don't really care for them, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is an SAV. That's very different. And as a sport activity vehicle, you get activity with the vehicle, but not a whole lot of utility, as in like 6,000 pounds of towing capacity or 10,000 pounds of towing capacity. Nothing like that. This is more for sport. This model just landed at Pfaff Porsche, so thank you very much for letting me have it. And I should mention, on some of the exterior shots that you might see, you'll see a silver wheel package. Now, this vehicle normally comes with a satin black wheel. This car, of course, now that we're in Toronto, and in this case, we're getting close to winter time at this point in the year, so it's best to have winter tires on this vehicle. But normally, the vehicle has a satin finish wheel in black to match the rest of the trim on the vehicle. And being that this vehicle is a sport design vehicle as well, one of the things you're going to have on the exterior, you'll see those fender flares, the sport exhaust. Not to mention this lovely V8 that you just heard. Now that's the big kicker for the GTS in 2021. The new V8 is incredible. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. So it's not PDK, it's got a torque converter. But you wouldn't know it. Like, I mean, I'm just coming up to a set of lights right now. It's an 80 zone, I'm doing 80. I'm gonna start flicking the paddle shifters. And with every touch of the paddle shifter, I'm going down to third gear. Now second, right up to 5,000 RPM. It lets you drive the vehicle. I really love this Tiptronic transmission. With the vehicle as well, you get a lot of other things that you'd find on a 911, like Sport Chrono Pack. This GTS, I think the big win for the customer buying the GTS today, well, it's a V8, not a V6 anymore. So this V8, it's a 4-liter with 453 horsepower, so you're talking over 100 horsepower per liter. It's a twin turbo as well. 8-speed automatic, 5,500 pounds. How it has a 0 to 60 time that it has, I have no clue. Porsche always manages to defy the laws of gravity because physics do not apply to this vehicle. As soon as you take off in the car, and right now, I'm just going to flip over my Sport Chrono to Sport Plus before I take off here. And I've just had a set of lights. I'm not going crazy. This is a vehicle that needs to be sold soon. I hope you can hear that. It sounds so good. And as I'm coming up, and in this area of Toronto, it's kind of hilly and whatnot, and there's a few bumps in the road. I'm just letting the Sport Chrono kind of do its thing. And boy, oh boy, is it it's so intense. I just love how this thing drives. But then at the same time, I can flip back to just normal mode, and all of a sudden I'm back into this sort of like, I feel like I'm in a high Porsche Panamera, just a little bit higher. Everything else in here is Porsche. I love the beautiful steering wheel. I love this interior. And Richard Butler, the sales executive who helped me out with this, and thanks again to Pfaff Porsche for giving me yet another Porsche. Thanks, Dave. Thanks, Matt. I really appreciate it. But Richard mentioned, I saw the interior and I was just like, oh my God, this is a hot interior. He's like, actually, it's kind of a rare choice. And I was like, why? Why would anyone not want this beautiful stitched suede interior? And they're like, well, a lot of people who buy the Cayenne, they have families. And with younger children, I can totally understand why you wouldn't want this particular interior. That I totally get. But I know for me, well, I don't have kids, so I would definitely get the interior on this car. Love the red belts as well. I mean, all the accents on the car. And it's got air suspension as well. I mean, everything about this is still... It's called a sport activity vehicle, and being a former salesperson, I always have to put my foot down there. I would never call this an SUV. Yes, you have some utility, but you don't have the towing capacity of like a GMC or a Chevy or something like that. Those vehicles are designed for something completely different. They're frame on body. This is built much like any other Porsche car. But wow, I mean, really, talk about the best of both worlds. And yes, at this price, it better be. I mean, the level of detail on the vehicles is always really, really impressive. Not to mention the fit and finish. And by fit and finish, it's just how everything comes together, how everything fits and feels, and everything, all the fit and feel of this vehicle is, of course, very, very high end. Seriously? 5,500 pounds. Come on. I mean, the vehicle really does deserve these handlebars here. I mean, even I kind of want to hold on to it while I'm driving. Oh, I mean, everything about the Porsche brand, I think you can find sort of encompassed in any of their vehicles, whether it's the history, you know, the ignition switch on the left-hand side, which you'll still find in a Porsche, or to the right if it's a right-hand drive vehicle, but we're in Canada, so this is a left-hand drive vehicle. So the ignition switch it's sort of a faux ignition switch. You don't need the key in to be inserted, but again, that just harkens back to that Le Mans style, what they used to do with Porsche, where the key was not on the inside of the column. Yes, a little bit less safe for someone trying to steal your keys from you with the engine running and all that sort of stuff, but the whole point was for performance on the track, so that we could get in, start the vehicle, and put it in gear at the same time. But I love that they have that history. Yeah, thanks again for letting me have the vehicle for a few hours, and boy, what a pleasurable few hours. I always hate bringing back Porsches. It's a car you just definitely want to just keep driving in. I always go back to that whole Christophorus magazine, the patron saint of travelers. And every Porsche I get in, it just makes me want to travel. I just want to like go for a drive to get my coffee because, well, quite frankly, I can, and it's just such a pleasure to drive these vehicles. So thanks again to Pfaff Porsche for letting me borrow this vehicle today. I really had a blast. And if you do, if you require the needs of anyone at Pfaff Porsche, particularly Richard Butler, he could give you a hand. He's one of their sales executives, and certainly know far more about a Porsche than I would. But yeah, great team over there and at Pfaff Porsche. And thanks again. And do take a look at the rest of the channel. We got lots of videos, and yeah, like and subscribe. Pretty please.